Hey there, and welcome to Convincing Idiots. You have found the place to be, and we're so glad. So for this week, we are going to be doing the usual stuff that we do. We introduce ourselves, we talk about what we've been up to in the past week or so, and we're going to discuss some pop culture headlines, mainly of which includes lab-grown meat. It's been in the news a lot lately. Would you eat it, or is that a no-go? And then in our last segment tonight, part one of a ongoing segment, we are going to discuss our special Convincing Idiots Battle of the Bands. That is correct. We have each selected a handful of bands in which we have determined to be very talented and very important to us. So we're going to discuss basically the first leg of the battle bracket. So stick tuned to the very end and find out who advances to the second round, as well as a preview for next week's episode and what other bands will be included. So, without further ado, let's start this show.
Call it again?
Convincing Idiots.
Convincing Idiots.
Called it ham gravy.
I informed them that I sided with the stat man, not just anyone's opinion, the stat man Brian Fisher.
These kids today.
Jingle All the Way is in fact the best Christmas movie of all time.
I need to get Grandma a present, and my herpes is flaring up. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, yo, yo. I'm the millennial
We're
Santa.
three friends representing three different generations. That's our whole shtick. That's our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nick got the whole poop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing in the sea
Caucasian.
breeze, holding a turd, just mightily. I'm just going hitting hats.
Anyway, on a lighter note,
And welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the vodcast. Welcome to the broadcast. Boys and girls, welcome to the show. This is Convincing Idiots. My name's Dean. They call me the Zennial.
Gen X, Brian.
And I am a millennial, and my name is Nick. And if you are joining us for the first time,
Back.
we welcome you to Convincing Idiots, the weekly podcast of three friends from three different generations discussing all things nerd and pop culture and things of the times, things of the day. So if you've not already done so, please feel free to find us on all your favorite social media accounts. You can find links to each and every one of them on our link tree. So Google Convincing Idiots, LINKTREE, and there you will find all of the links to our social media accounts in which we are on, as well as links of where you can listen to this podcast each and every week. So be sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, follow, tell all your friends, all that good stuff. And if you don't feel like going to our link tree, you can also find all that information and so much more on our website. That's convincingidiots.wordpress.com. You can find all of that information. You can also find our merch store as well. That's right. We have merchandise for you to put on your body, so you can put us on your body and drink from us and all those wonderful things. So be sure to stop over to that web store and check out what we've got over there. You can also find us on Boss Code Media. We have friends over at Boss Code Media who have been so kind to feature us, as well as our friends on It Came From Gen X. Boss Code Media, if you're not familiar, is a simple app that you can download in your app store, on your smart TV, on your phone, wherever. And it is a bunch of original content creator-driven stuff, and it's really cool. So go check it out. Go check out It Came From Gen X. Boss Code Media, thank you very much for featuring us, and thank you very much out there listening, watching, for lending us your ear holes and your eyeballs. We appreciate it. So we are joined once again together this week. Now, I just want to start by addressing Dean mentioned himself as a Zennial, which would imply that he was born sometime in maybe the 80s or 70s. But what I'm seeing right now, if you're watching YouTube, Okay,
1881.
there you go. Say
Not
it
1981, 1881.
certainly winks to a time in yesteryear, but certainly far preceding the 1980s or 70s. So, Dean, let's start with you. How have you been?
Well, I've been handing out a lot of newspapers.
Mhm.
Other than that, I've been well. I just hanging out. I don't really have much. Oh no! You know what? There's one thing I can say that I did. We built a trampoline.
Okay.
Yeah. Megan, and her
Hopefully, out
dad.
of like the right materials, you didn't just start putting things together that looked like it would be
We-
a good trampoline and like let people get on it or anything.
Right. We got him one for Christmas, and then we couldn't put it up during the winter, so we went ahead and put it up now in the spring. But before that,
That was the most I've seen someone struggle into how to put together a trampoline.
offline, I'll let you know why.
What's that holiday? It's got the tree.
The big jolly guy. It's cold outside. He wears them big like boots and stuff. And okay, yeah.
So, but before that, I had to clear the space because I had a giant one of those wood framed jungle gym type things with a slide and all that. And a couple years back, about 2 years back, Nick and I were in my backyard. Nick, do you remember this? And we decided we should take it down. We should cut it up and burn it.
Mhm.
But the only thing we actually did was amazingly tip it over.
I was gonna say that was a couple of years ago, eh? That's like
Yeah.
it's just
So
been
it's
laying
been
there.
sitting in my because like I've been waiting for Nick to come over and help me cut it up like he said he would that night. So and he never did. So I finally got a not hacksaw, but the electric
Chainsaw.
reciprocal saw. No, reciprocal.
Oh, okay.
And I caught it all into various small size pieces to burn or to throw away. It took a very long time. It was just me out there, and I cut it up, and now I have a trampoline in place of that. So I still have to
Nice.
fucking mow around something. So
That actually might be
Delightful.
worse because you have to go like underneath the trampoline now.
no, I'm gonna throw shit to like kill the grass underneath the fucking trampoline. I'm not mowing that shit.
So you should put like a tarp down underneath it. That's that'd be the way to
there
go.
you go. Kill it. Yep, that's what I need. Good call. If you're not here helping, at least you can give me suggestions.
Yeah, I
from
mean,
far
I'm doing
away.
what I can
I
here.
appreciate that. Yeah.
In my defense, I mean, I do vaguely remember that. I'm guessing we were having some pops there, and like I probably drunkenly was like, "Oh yeah, we'll come over next weekend and do this," and then that was like 2 years ago, and nobody ever said anything. It just never happened.
It was your idea to tip it over, and this is a big bastard.
So yes, we were drinking. Okay.
Yeah, and like we just we got them one on each side. I honestly don't know how we tipped it, but we did
because it was solid. Yeah, I mean, we moved it to your house from my uncle's.
Right.
Even years before that. So
on a fucking trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that thing was a fucking bear.
Yeah. So that's really the only thing we got going. Kids were on spring break and they jumped up and down a lot. That's about it.
Nice.
So other than to quickly explain, I am doing something for work that requires a slight costume. So I am, if you go to the YouTube, I am dressed in a 1920s attire, so to speak. I have suspenders and the hat and whatnot.
If it weren't for the suspenders, I would never think you were dressed in a costume because that's the type of stuff you wear anyway.
do wear button-up shirts and the paperboy hat or Peaky Blinders hat anyway. So yeah, the suspenders really give it away.
Yeah, right.
All right. Enough about me. I'm tired of hearing my voice. Brian, tell me what you've been up to.
All right, from Larry King to Brian. Here we go.
There you go. All to you.
Brian and Kenmore, you're on the air.
Yeah. Nice week with Allie. So lovely girlfriend Allie. We took some days off together the last few days and just did a little mini staycation. Really nice. Went to the Cavs game Sunday. Watched Cleveland win and clinch a playoff spot. First time they clinched a playoff spot, awesome. I think, without LeBron James since the late 80s, I believe.
98 or 97, I think I saw.
Something crazy, yeah. So good for them, playing great.
Hold on,
good.
what? No,
It's
that's
the
not
first time. Yeah, it's the first
Without
time they've without LeBron. It's the first time they've clinched a playoff berth without LeBron James
Okay,
since the '90s. Because
fair.
I mean, they were real
Okay.
bad before him and real bad all
Mhm.
of the years he left. And
You don't disparage the good goddamn name of Mark Price, I tell you.
This was after that. This was like
Yeah.
I think the brief Sean Kemp era or something like that in the
Oh
late
yeah, with
90s.
those shitty like ice cream uniforms.
Mhm.
oh, I love those. The black
Oh,
ones
they
with
were-
the blue.
yeah, they were
Oh, I love
awful.
those.
You
Are my
can- you can-
favorites.
You can buy those jerseys still, yeah.
Yeah, like $2 online.
No, there's actually a lot more than that. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun, and then we just did a few things over the last couple of days. Cleveland Art Museum, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, nice dinners and breweries, stuff like that. So just a real nice, relaxing couple of days there. So, yeah. Saw Dean last night for trivia. Dean and Megan last night for trivia. Jeff, that was nice. So, yeah. Good, nice short work week. So, good stuff. Got a nice time with Alec. Yeah. So, Nick, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We
You
hung
have a
out
lot
most of the weekend.
to tell us about because you weren't here last week.
Yeah, I don't know what I did the week before. I don't even. I struggle to think of what I did last weekend. I know we went to Winks, the new Winks. If you're in the Barberton area, Winks Drive-In or restaurant over by Giant Eagle has recently reopened under new ownership, same name. So very nice
Did you get a burger?
dining experience. I did. Yeah.
The burgers look like they do at
Like Swenson's.
Swenson's. Yeah.
Yeah, they do something to the buns. I don't know if they like bake them or something, but like the
Okay.
buns are. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
good.
really impressed with the food. I got a burger called the Judge, and it's got like an egg on it and bacon and all that stuff. And it was just this gooey, eggy, cheesy goodness. It was actually the food was incredible. I can say that.
That's how they describe Brian, actually.
Eggy and cheesy and gooey.
And gooey, yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I judge you. Mm-hmm.
The Judge.
That's right.
Yeah, but no, it was very good. Food was excellent. So they've been open for a little over a week now. So that was nice. What else we do? Do some shopping. Oh, I know what I did. Not this past weekend, but the weekend prior. This is definitely a place that's right up our alley here on the show. It's called the Retro Attic. It is out on I think it's Maslin Road in like Springfield area. Like so fucking cool. This place, if you're into vinyl, every different room. It's literally like you walked into somebody's house. You go up to
The
the front
records
door.
or the suits?
What's that?
Vinyl, record or suits?
Record
Okay.
vinyls. Yes,
Fair.
for your listening pleasure.
All right.
But you go up these stairs, and I mean everything's wall to wall, covered with pop culture, music, movies, video games, just everything pop culture everywhere, and everything on the wall basically is for sale. They have 2 rooms dedicated to vinyls. There's a horror movie room. There's one with just movies. There's one with vintage concert T-shirts and old toys. Just the whole place is fucking decked out, and the people that own it are so damn nice. I was able to find. You ready for this? You ready to get your minds blown? I was ready. I picked up a couple of vinyls while I was there. One, I got Frank Sinatra's "Strangers in the Night." Fantastic pickup. Secondarily, I out loud gasped, and the guy who was walking by gave me a chuckle, and I was like, "You don't even understand. This is the easiest $20 I could ever possibly spend." I pull out
Lizzie McGuire soundtrack.
Close.
Okay.
Girl, You Know It's True by Milli Vanilli on vinyl. Oh yeah, I bought that
All
motherfucker
right.
so fast. Yeah,
All right.
so
I'm gonna have to
it
head
was
up
cool.
there.
It was a really cool place, and just like I said, it's just a cool place. You could lose hours in that place if not just for rifling through vinyls and stuff like that. Just looking around at all the cool shit, and so it's really cool. Everything's, like I said, covered with all kinds of pop culture stuff, and it's a really cool spot. So the Retro Attic again is what that place is called.
I have to head up there.
Very, very nice place. So yeah, that was a couple weeks ago, but yeah, that's I think about covers it for me. Just getting ready. Lane's Destination Imagination Group. We've been getting ready for the States, which is this coming Saturday, and if they advance to the next round, we'll be headed to Kansas City, Missouri for the globals at that point. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes Saturday, but it's pretty cool. So they're
Very cool.
honing their craft and working on their stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. So
Awesome.
yep, that's about it over here.
All right. I'd like to make a addendum on addendum. That's the word I'm looking for.
An addendum. An addendum.
Yeah, something. You know what I'm
Stop
saying.
the press.
Stop the presses. I do actually want to publicly thank Brian. Because you reminded me, Nick, because Brian had brought over a small stack of records from his father's collection.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Cool.
I've been looking for Gordon Lightfoot, the Ballad of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm.
And he had it.
Great
and
Canadian songwriter. There you
absolutely. So he gave me that, and it had amongst a bunch of other fantastic albums. So, Brian, I would like to publicly thank you.
Very welcome. My dad would be happy that those records are being played again.
Oh, they absolutely are. They are good Saturday, Sunday morning plays right there.
Very good. We'll get you some too, Nick. We'll figure this out. So.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta get Gordon Lightfoot, you son of a bitch.
Those fuckers are gone.
I was looking through the albums, and he has a bunch of Beatles albums. I'm like,
ooh,
you know what? I'm like,
you can
Mom,
sell those.
I was like, these might be worth something there. So I think there were at least 3 or 4 of them that I looked.
Yeah.
They're used online were over $100. I'm like, let's just slow down here a little bit. It's like the White Album. There's a couple of them there. I'm just like, I don't know how good condition they are, but you
can get her a few $100. At least you can finally do something for her. You ungrateful prick.
Well, that's what I figured. I may as well just, it could be a couple $100 in Mom's pocket if we sell them somewhere. You know what I mean? So
that's all well and good. But how many Milli Vanilli B-sides does he have?
Not a one. Not a one.
Didn't mean he wasn't a fan. It just he didn't have the records.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, guess who is a fan and who does now? This guy.
There you go.
That's right. That's right. Very good.
Girl, you know it's true.
Well, maybe Milli Vanilli might be a part of our main segment later with a band battle bracket later. So
Absolutely.
You have to stay tuned for that.
The all-time legendary bands.
I sure hope people, whoever's listening, isn't a fan of Milli Vanilli going, oh shit, I hope they are.
Rob Pilatus and Fabrice Morvan are finally going to get the respect that they deserve.
Let's tamper some expectations here, people.
Hey, we got listeners in Germany.
We do.
Milli Vanilli. Milli und Vanilli.
Well, before we get there, I want to get through some idiot reviews. You guys, have you seen or heard anything interesting you wish to recommend to our listeners and viewers? So, Nick, let me start with you this time.
Yeah, so I'm going to start out with a special little segment that I'm going to call Nick's Kid Corner. Nick's Kid Corner. So, of the children's related, for the people out there with families,
please tell me this is kids related stuff and not videos with kids in.
No.
Okay, good.
This is for your children to watch. So, as a father of 2, and if you're out there listening and you have children, or perhaps you just enjoy some good, wholesome, child-targeted family content, I have a couple things to recommend for
right
you.
In the line there.
Yeah. There is a Netflix show that we watched called My Dad the Bounty Hunter. It is an animated show. It's fantastic. It's very good. They're little 20-minute, 25-minute shows, episodes. There's like 10 of them in the first season. But it's very good. It's about a mom and a dad who amicably have split. They have 2 kids. And the dad just so happens to be...
the best part of the show.
An intergalactic...
I love divorce.
That's right. You're right. There you go. An intergalactic bounty hunter. Now, his family knows him to be a truck driver because he's gone a lot, but he is actually, he travels to space and is an intergalactic bounty hunter. So it's pretty interesting. It's a cute show. So my kids both enjoyed it. I mean, my kids are 11 and 7. It appealed to both of them. So
see, that's what I assume, actually. That's actually what I assume Nick does, is some sort of like, maybe not intergalactic, but like some sort of like secret job, that none of us know about.
Very incognito, very covert.
Yeah, because there's got to be a reason he didn't want to hang out with us, Brian.
Traveling forward and back in time, catching criminals.
It's hard, you know what I mean?
A time bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
I can neither confirm nor deny these accusations.
That's fair.
But what
now we understand why you. Now we accept it.
Okay.
All right.
That's good. I'm glad I have that from you. So that's good. I've longed for your acceptance for so long. So that's
You
good.
have. Now, next time we invite you to do something, and you say no. We're like, oh, he's probably going to catch John Wick's booth.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, dimensional travel and whatnot. So yeah. I can't control these things. All I know is I go where I'm needed when I'm needed.
Sure.
And that is not saying that it has anything to do with bounty hunting in another time or place. But I'll just leave it there.
I'm going to write that comic book.
That show was very good. That show was very good. Also, we watched Lyle Crocodile as well on Netflix, which I'm assuming is based off of a children's book.
It is.
It sounds kind of familiar, but it was a lot of fun. It was silly. I mean, it's a little out there because what happens in this movie?
Crocodile.
Yeah, have you watched it?
We watched the previews.
Okay. Well, no, he doesn't talk though. You're wrong. He sings only.
Sure. Right.
The dude only sings. He does not.
Yeah, my kids wanted to see it, and I sent them to their rooms when they said that.
Go there and watch the crocodile movie.
No.
They weren't allowed to watch it at all.
Yeah,
you just had to get away from you.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah, they insulted me by suggesting such things.
I see. Okay. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, if you're sitting down
to watch it with the kids,
and right. I sent them to their rooms, and I watched Lyle Crocodile. No, it was like it's one of those things where like if
jazz cabbage.
Yeah, actually, I bet that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, probably would be actually.
But it was, if you're sitting down and looking for a good, it is good, but I mean, if you're looking for like a solid storyline or something, you have to obviously this is based off of a silly little feel-good kids book, so the events that take place in this film are so far out of bounds of reality, obviously, that there would be this singing crocodile that they would bring onto stages and try to get to perform and things like that. But it's kind of
you're talking to a group of people who love the TV show about a space bounty hunter with a Yoda type kid following him, right?
Yes, but that's Star Wars. I mean, I figure that's usually the reason why that gets a pass. But no, but it was a cute movie. There was good catchy songs in it. Shawn Mendes, I guess, is the singer, is the voice of Lyle the crocodile. So it was fantastic. It was really well done. Good heartfelt movie, and just a good family watch. So that was really good. That concludes Nick's Kid Corner. I will now AIDS. Nick's Kid Corner now transitions into Nicholas's adult time corner. Here's the adult films I've seen.
Tell me, please.
We watched. Have you guys seen Stutz? Which is Jonah Hill's film / documentary.
I've seen the previews up.
Therapist, yes.
Yeah.
Really good. Like, I really liked it. If you like documentaries, I don't know, it's really well done. It's really well shot. And it's essentially you're basically sitting in on a session or multiple sessions of Jonah Hill and his therapist that he's had for the last few years. And he's been so moved and found all these tools that this therapist has provided him in the way that he approaches psychology and therapy, that he wanted to make a film outlining some of his basic, practices that have really worked for him. And he was like, as many people as I can get out, to hear this kind of stuff, maybe you can implement some of these things in your life. And it kind of goes through of, breaking down from a professional's opinion, like why we have the feelings that we do and about certain things and why we react the way that we do and ways to combat this and all that stuff. And also, I mean, it is also a little bit of a documentary about the therapist himself. It goes into his background and his life growing up, and then Jonah Hill, obviously, and where he was in his life when he started seeing him and the differences it's made with him. And it's really good. It was really very cool, very authentic, and it felt like just a really, I don't know, I was fascinated by it. I really liked it a lot. So like I said, it's if you're not like into documentaries or anything like that, I probably wouldn't recommend it, because that's really what it is above all else. But I thought that was fantastic. So Stutz on Netflix, and then I thought I had like 4 things. I keep forgetting what all there's been, but I'll leave it there for now. You guys talk about other stuff, and then if I think of something, I'll jump back in at some point. But Brian, what have you seen in the last week?
A couple things here. So last Saturday, I went to go see John Wick 4 in the theater. So fan of the series. The first three can be found on streaming. They were on HBO Max. I don't know if they're still on there or not, but it's just one long continuous story. Each movie just picks up where the last movie left off. Not too much time has passed in between each movie. I'm not going to spoil anything here. Long movie. It's like 2 hours, 50 minutes, something like that. So there also is a post-credit scene, if you've not seen it, to stick around for that.
Is he being tied into the MCU?
No, nothing like that. But just, if you're a fan of the John Wick movies, again, you'll like this. It's shot beautifully. Keanu Reeves kicking ass. Multiple kills, as you would expect in a John Wick movie. Yeah, he doesn't screw around. John Wick knocks somebody down and he shoots you to make sure that you're dead. There's no getting back up. Once you're down with John Wick, you are staying down. That's it, flat out. But a lot of drama, martial arts.
He's an attractive man. I go down anytime.
Sure, absolutely. So
I'll hold my suspenders.
Yeah. So, but if you are the fan of the franchise, definitely recommend it. Go see this in the theater. Just prepare for, it's just an afternoon. So I went to a 4:00 show and just, that's it. That's the way to do it. Staying up too late just wasn't for me, but it was very, very
not at
enjoyable.
your age.
Yep. For the first time, I finally caught with Ali, John Wick. I just said
John Wick 1 after 4.
Top Gun Maverick. I'm trying to say Top Gun Maverick. It's now on Amazon Prime for free with the Amazon Prime normal subscription. Super enjoyable movie. Obviously, it was a huge blockbuster last summer. Is everything that people said about it. I know yourself too, Dean. It just takes you back to that 80s
it's fun.
feel. That's exactly what it was. It felt like a movie made in the 80s with the smarmy, pilot and just the whole feel of the original movie. Tom Cruise, fantastic. The plane fight, the planes is just awesome. The effects, the sound, the music, just takes you right back to 80s nostalgia feel.
And I love how from the first one when she had mentioned Goose's wife mentioned that he got in trouble with the Admiral's daughter, Penny Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
Penny Benjamin is in the film, played by Jennifer Connelly.
Okay. Okay. Nice to see Val Kilmer coming back and reprising his role as Iceman.
That was cool.
Oh, was he in there?
It's very it's very heartfelt. It's very. Nick, you've seen Top Gun 1, right?
Yeah, I have. Mm-hmm.
Right, you should watch this. And again, if you run by it, knowing you and your taste, you probably don't want. You're not going to go search it out. But if you run by it, I suggest you check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, they tie his current ailment into the film as well. Like he's having trouble speaking and stuff. So they tie that in nicely, which was very heartfelt, like Dean said. So. Yeah, definitely worth a watch. 2 hours long. Great. It's just simple, easy watch. Check it out for sure. We caught one over the weekend as well. Just at random. Caught the trailer on Amazon Prime. Fun movie called Grabbers. So it's like a 2012.
That was the adult film that I saw this week.
It sounds that way, doesn't it? But we caught the trailer. It was like an alien. And the premise was that if you were drinking and drunk, you weren't appealing to the alien, so it did not want to basically eat you. So it encouraged people.
Safe.
Yeah, it encouraged people to. It's like a small Irish island somewhere, right? So it's just a confined group of people. These aliens are there, and fun kind of ensues. It's kind of a smaller, again, local Irish movie. A lot of fun, interesting, definitely more entertaining than what we thought. So, Grabbers is a nice, fun, late night
It sounds
movie
like a fun concept, yeah.
Yes, it was. And I've been watching Agent Elvis on Netflix. There's 10 episodes that dropped on St. Patrick's Day. Matthew McConaughey does the voice of Elvis, and there's other people in there as well. It's set in the '60s when Elvis is at his comeback special era, but he's also a secret agent. Priscilla Presley is a producer of this thing. She has a voice of herself on the show. Fun appearances by other celebrities of the '60s are in there. Just a lot of fun. Over the top ridiculousness, violence.
I watched the first couple
fun.
episodes of that. Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was not what I was hoping it was. Was not as, I guess, funny as I was hoping it was gonna be. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, this is not. I was very excited about it, and then I watched a couple episodes, and I was like, I don't know.
Brian, did you laugh?
I thought it was pretty good, but I'm also a huge Elvis fan, so just that extra dynamic for me. It's an interesting concept, so I'll continue to finish the episodes.
Inside jokes that maybe you got that you didn't, or I'm just trying to gauge why Nick would find it funny and or Nick didn't find it funny and you did.
I don't know. Maybe just that I don't know. I just like the extra. I think Matthew McConaughey is great as Elvis, and that whole weird dynamic he brings to the table.
Have you watched it, Dean, or no?
I have not.
Okay.
Yeah. You might like it, Dean. I don't know. So
okay,
I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out. Yeah,
that's what I've seen. That's it. How about you, Dean?
So I've got one review and then one semi-review that I actually haven't even seen. All right, so the first review is we went on to what is it? I don't know, HBO Max maybe, or something. But we watched Megan, the movie about the robot child android girl who kills people and stuff. What a fun fucking movie! That
is not that. Well, you texted us and you were like it was entertaining. I was like, you are the last person in the. I mean, I haven't watched Megan, but just the trailer that I've seen, and you're like the last person in the world, from what I gather that movie is, that would enjoy it. I'm like, what?
Right. It is. Carter had seen it. My son, 11 years old, saw it, and he's like, Dad, I think you'd enjoy it. I'm like, all right, fine. We'll watch. So
after American Sasquatch, I don't trust your shit anymore.
No shit, right? So, but no, it was entertaining. It was, first of all, it was thought-provoking. Just the idea of AI and what it could be and what that means for society and what it, because we talked about the AI chatbots before, previous episodes. Go back in our archives and watch and listen. And we talked about, what they could do, the possibility of in the future. Obviously, this is way more advanced than what we're capable of now. But, she starts developing her own thoughts and, becomes quasi-sentient. And it's the kills are fun. If you like horror movies for just the silly kills and the weird shit, it's a good time. Again, it's not... You're not hearing Rosebud at the end and having your fucking mind blown. It is what it is. It's a tiny girl robot killing people. It's fun. So Brian, I know that you would love it.
Okay.
Nick, I think you will. I'm pretty sure you will.
Okay.
Don't watch it with the kids.
Right.
Or at least with the younger one.
Right.
I don't know. He might be. He actually might enjoy.
I would say he would enjoy it more than Lane probably would. I don't know that Lane would be interested. Yeah,
that's true. But it's good. And as I was watching that, I wanted, how you before you click on the movies and the preview pops up. Have you guys heard about this movie? It's from 2021, Willy's Wonderland. It is Nicholas. It is Nicolas Cage. I haven't got to watch it yet because Carter has no interest. Megan has no interest, so I'm going to have to watch it by myself, probably on some jazz cabbage. But it is Nicolas Cage is on this he's very a loner type, breaks down, and he's at this old theme park and agrees to clean it for money to fix the car or whatever. And it turns out to be, I don't know if it's haunted and there's killers. And they realize that he's probably, what I'm guessing from the trailer, that he's actually a killer himself. And it's just Nicolas Cage not saying anything, just killing people. and like there's teenagers involved that like get stranded there. It looks stupid. It's almost like Nick, you'll know what I'm talking about, but Five Nights at Freddy.
Yeah.
It's almost a
Which
Five
they
Nights
are making a movie of that.
They are. It's
Mhm.
been in development. A lot of people's been attached to it lately, but it's Five Nights at Freddy meets maybe John Wick. I don't know 100%, but it looks crazy, and I'm definitely going to watch it. Yeah, Willy's Wonderland.
What's that new movie that's coming out where like Nicolas Cage is a vampire, but he looks like Marilyn Manson? Like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, it's Redfield.
Redfield.
Yeah.
I want to see that. That looks awesome.
That looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a comedy. It's like a dark comedy.
Yeah, it's about his assistant Renfield. It's been with him for many centuries or whatever.
Yeah, because he's Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's the guy that played the Beast in the new X-Men movies. That kid plays Renfield. Anyway, looks interesting.
Yeah, looks fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, that's everything I saw and will see. So
Ever again.
ever again.
All right.
You can't top Megan, so I'm done. I've never seen a movie that good
You
again,
said a mouthful right there.
Dean can't top Megan.
So I'm done.
Either. Yeah. Yep. All right, so we're going to see if Dean can top Megan.
I can bottom her.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with some pop culture headlines and get into our Ask an Idiot question of the week. If you would eat meat that it does not come from a live animal, how about that? This will be our question of the week before we get into our main segment a little bit later. So chew on that.
I just did.
And we'll be right back.
When it comes to space games, nobody compares to Atari.
Excuse me, have you compared them to Intellivision?
Intellivision?
Sure, they've got great space games, like Intellivision Space Battle.
I didn't know.
And now there's Space Armada and the incredible Astro Smash.
I didn't know.
Here, compare for yourself. Intellivision Space Games from Mattel Electronics. Once you compare, you'll know.
4, 3.
Welcome back to Convincing Idiots. Pop culture headlines here, gentlemen. I have some great news. I know that you were just keeping up at night, worried about how this particular trial was going to go. But you can rest easy. Gwyneth Paltrow was found not at fault.
She was found what?
Not at fault.
Okay.
In her ski crash trial. Have you heard about this?
No.
Thank goodness, but no.
Okay. So a retired optometrist had sued her for a alleged ski accident where he claimed that she ran into him and caused some permanent health issues, damage to him.
Did she pay him off in goop candles that smell like her vagina?
If that happened, it did not make the news, but he filed a $300,000 lawsuit. I don't know.
That's the secret of goop.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
That's right. So it kind of made a lot of social media news. There was some odd dialogue happening between his lawyer and Gwyneth. So she was a woman with talking to Gwyneth Paltrow and during the trial. This is strange. You can watch some of this on social media, I'm quite certain. But anyways, Gwyneth Paltrow was found not at fault.
Well, thank goodness.
Yes.
My life is now complete.
That's right. I know you weren't. I just thought it was a kind of a funny story. So Beyonce tickets. She's going on tour coming up
listening.
here. Yeah.
Slow news week this week, I see.
No, I just thought this was interesting. Some of the tickets for this tour are so expensive,
Can only imagine.
hundreds of dollars, that some people are buying tickets for European shows and opting to spend the airfare to fly over and watch her overseas because you can get into the venue at a much cheaper price because they have different laws over there that kind of prohibits a ticket company like a Ticketmaster really jacking up the fees. So I thought that was kind of interesting where, like I said, the different consumer protection things or something along that line. Some are gotten kind of burned that they bought tickets, so then they realized that lo and behold, the airfare is not necessarily cheap to fly overseas and back. So they've had some trouble with some of that. But I just thought that was
you definitely got to do your research before you commit to like spending a bunch of money on ticket. Like you got to plan the trip out. Like do yourself a favor and make sure you can afford the whole thing.
Exactly. I just thought that was sort of a good example of the current poor state of affairs with like a Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is taking more and more heat for the ridiculous fees. However, I mean, concert promoters or whatever could certainly opt not to use Ticketmaster. It's something that is a choice, but I don't know. You see some more fans kind of pushing back on this more, and even some artists are, like I saw where, I think it was The Cure had done something to where they were even refunding portions of ticket prices back to fans or something like that to offset the ticket prices, something weird like that.
Yeah.
And then
Pearl Jam sued them in the 90s for this shit. They went to like long legal battles with Ticketmaster over this, like mid 90s, like 95, I think it was.
Okay. I've noticed that in the Cleveland area, the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, they exclusively use SeatGeek instead of Ticketmaster because the fees are not as high. It's a different ticket promoting option, I guess. So we're going to go see Bruce Springsteen next week, Allie and I. Yes,
nice.
At the Rocket Mortgage Field. Go ahead.
Like you have to like pay fees and stuff like through SeatGeek or any of them, right?
You still do, but I guess it's not as high as a Ticketmaster is what they.
And a lot of times, if you buy on SeatGeek, it'll show like your ticket price that it comes up, like all the different ones. It'll tell you like your fees are included in this. So it's giving the price you're looking at is including your fees. So when you go to check out, you're not like, here's what I thought my tickets were. Oh, and then here's $38 in fees and service fees and shit. It's all already there. So you know if you're getting times two, like that's it's going to tell you what each ticket's going to be with fees included.
Why doesn't everybody like? Is there a law against like shouldn't all the ticket fees like be transparent, so to speak?
I mean, they're transparent. It's like they're not going to like let you check out and not tell you about it.
No, sure, but
you won't know until you're at the last thing. Like you won't know till you're at the last window. I mean, you're not going to get charged for it and find out later, but you do have to agree to it before you submit the payment. So like it's like so when you pick your tickets out and you're on Ticketmaster and you're like, I want to go see Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, and here's what tickets are. Then at the next window, when you're getting ready to check out and put in your information, it's going to be like, okay, here's your tickets, here's the breakdown of that. Oh, and then here's this service fee, and here's the venue fee, and here's this, and now your tickets are like almost double what you thought they were going to be.
That's
but
ridiculous.
Then you check out and pay.
Right.
But with SeatGeek, it's like they'll
why can't it all?
It might look more expensive at first, but it's like this is with everything included. This is all your service fees.
I'm confused. Like I don't buy a lot of tickets. I just don't understand why it can't all be just a simple, straightforward. Like if you would like buy insurance from Blake Insurance, right? Because Blake Insurance
fees on that motherfucker.
None. Because Blake Insurance is an Erie insurance agency located in Barberton, Ohio. They provide auto, home, renters, and business insurance with honesty, decency, and affordability. Erie Insurance is above all else in service. You want to call 234-571-5359 or visit BlakeInsuranceLLC.com for your free, what? You heard me, free 5-minute quote today. When you do, tell them you came to them because the idiots told you, and you know how easy And hassle-free, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
I love hassle-free. Yes,
No
I
hidden
do.
fees.
Yes, I do.
No hidden
None.
fees. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, anyways, just thought that was interesting with the ticket. The TikTok. I've been kind of watching this story or not here, but the Biden administration is threatening to ban TikTok if it's a Chinese company, ByteDance, that owns TikTok, or at least a
That's the
portion
name
of
of
it,
the
or
country,
something.
ByteDance?
BYTE Dance.
That's the name of my
Alright.
dance troupe.
That's what I thought. I got very confused.
So they're threatening to ban TikTok somehow in the United States unless they sell their portion of it, because he's worried about them, basically selling or providing data of U.S. citizens to the Chinese. So there was a whole big testimony. The CEO, I think it was, the CEO of TikTok was just in front of Congress like last week, answering questions, and his claim basically is, we keep it all separate. So people who were U.S. users, we keep their data separate. There's a firewall. We're not transferring data overseas or anything like that. So, so some have question, how could you even really ban an app? I mean, people can still get access to it.
You can ban it on phones.
Yeah, make it unavailable to the U.S. App Store or whatever.
I suppose. So what do you guys think? So I know you don't really use TikTok a whole bunch here, but are you worried about the data being transferred? If they did ban TikTok, that matter to you whatsoever? Any thoughts on this at all, Nick?
Ultimately, it's not going to impact my life greatly if they take TikTok away. I mean, it's not like I need it. I do enjoy it. I like spending time on there and watching stuff. But at the same time, like, I also don't really care. Like, maybe I don't understand it fully. But like, the difference between Chinese developers getting my data and American developers getting my data makes no fucking difference to me. Like, it's the same thing. What if they have access to my stuff and they're going to spam me with products that like they think that I want, or that they can? I mean, I don't think it makes much of a difference. I mean, like I said, maybe I don't fully understand the scope of the thing, but like, I don't care what country you're from. If you're accessing my data, it's whatever. It doesn't make a difference to me what country it's from. I think it's a little, I don't know, from what I understand of it, I think it's a little bit silly. Like I said, I mean, for Christ's sake, anytime you talk about something like at your place of work, about like something you're in the market, I'm looking for a new lawnmower, and I speak it out loud, the next ad I'm going to see on Amazon or Instagram or whatever is for fucking lawnmowers. I mean, like, it's not, I'm not really that concerned about it, I guess, personally. So I think it's from what I understand of it, it seems like a bit of an overreaction. Like, I don't care what country you're from getting my data. If you're getting my data and you're able to access it, there's not really much I can do about it anyway, so you might as well just help yourself. I don't really care. But just, like I said, it wouldn't crush my life to not have TikTok anymore, but I do enjoy it. And, if that's how I want to waste my time, let me waste my time on TikTok and let the Chinese have my data. I don't know.
Very good. Dean, what do you think?
Obey and comply, Brian. Obey and comply. Like Nick was saying, why do we care? They have our data, whether it be them or they or this or that. They all have our data. When we
they all have pictures of our dick. Every one of them.
Right.
Every country has a picture of my dick.
And if you don't, email me. I'll send you one. Of
it's
Nick's
so
dick.
attainable.
I have a lot of pictures of Nick's dick. Various.
Hell, everybody that signs up for our Patreon gets one. Like, Jesus,
that's true.
I mean, it's like,
That's
that
right.
one with the rose petals. Beautiful shot. Beautiful
Thank you.
shot. You need to.
Thank you.
Everybody needs that.
It's all about the framing. Thank you.
That's a small frame. If you have all of these things listening to us, we're sitting in a room just having a conversation, and we talk about, like you said, lawnmower. We're going to get lawnmower ads. Why is that fucking bad? I mean, maybe we forget to like Google it and search for it. So if it's listening to us, hey, I'm looking for like this really like a thick dildo, not like one of these petty ones, but like a real.
Yeah.
I want
one of those big alien ones.
I want a thick boy.
Yeah.
Dragon
scales on it.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I'm too embarrassed to physically type it in. But I get on my phone, they're like, hey, you looking for a monster dick? Of course I am. I'm glad you heard me. Let's do business. How is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. When you sign up for something
not
like
monster
that,
dick?
no, but you already kind of know
Rock Me Daddy. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. You already know what the risks are already. So I don't get the potential ban here either, frankly. So and then some TikTok creators are worried that a lot of people make money using TikTok. So if it's banned, they're worried about how it's going to impact some of their livelihood or side hustles and stuff.
They're going to go poor. Fuck them.
Oh, the creators making a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't like that people make more money than me.
This is rooted in jealousy.
100%. It's not even. You don't even tell them. It's not a secret. I don't.
We
like
have a TikTok, but we don't make any money on it from this podcast.
If you make more money than I do doing the same thing I do, I don't like you. As simple as that.
Yep.
I go to bowling alleys. I don't like the professional bowlers make money off from bowling. Fuck
exactly.
That.
So you know what I'm saying.
You should be eating the same shitty nachos that I am. God damn it.
I did go bowling the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. And there was nobody making money.
No. A lot of shattered dreams in an old bowling alley in the middle of the day.
I made money behind the dumpster later, but I was still at the bowling alley, so it counts.
Yeah.
So I think I'm now a professional bowler.
Well, that's just thinking on your feet or your knees, I guess, but whatever.
Total knees.
Yep.
I just don't have the back strength to like just bend over and so yeah.
Yeah.
What was the question, Brian?
The joints. Yeah. What?
It really is.
No new question with TikTok, but another. We talked about AI. It's becoming more and more popular. We talked about chat AI a little bit even on this episode.
And Megan,
that's right. I don't know if you've seen much of these, but the AI images that people can create, so you can describe something. I don't know quite how it works, if there's apps or something like that that are out there. Now, Dean, you were goofing around with our photos where
it's the same app.
Okay, are we feeding our photos into something, or
what it does, it doesn't change. It's not like an edit thing to where like you put your picture in and it just kind of edits that face. You put in like a series of pictures and then it generates from like all of the facial features a series of pictures. If that makes sense.
It's really incredible. Like, for example, I typed in like Dean choking me with his suspenders, and it's this very graphic scene of him just strangling the life out of me in a very sensual way with his suspenders.
Nick,
and it's very lifelike.
Erotic. Pronounced erotic.
But you can make stuff up like that. You can, like I saw one where somebody...
I'm gonna.
Sure. I like to see that.
You don't have to make up shit. You just have to ask nicely.
Like somebody
Brian,
created one.
Will you take a picture of this, please?
Sure. Just have to describe it, that's all.
It's shaky because he's only using one hand.
Well, somebody like I described, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles retired in a bar or something like that. So there was a series of pictures of like, old age turtles sitting there at a bar drinking. Somebody made one this week or last week or so. The Pope in a puffer coat. Look this up, by the way. It looks like an actual photograph.
It did look real. But I tell you,
wearing a puffer coat with like a big cross or something like that.
It's hit or miss.
Yeah.
Because I did one, again, I was just trying to think of those random.
Can you describe something and it creates it?
Yeah, like in a sentence. I typed in.
What app are you using?
It's on my phone, which I'm using right now, so I can't look it up. But I looked up, or I typed in Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant goes to prom.
Okay.
Right? This seems like it would be a funny.
Yeah.
But it was literally all the pictures were garbage.
Okay.
None of them looked like Hulk Hogan or prom it was bad. I think one had a very loose likeness to Hulk Hogan. Other than that, they weren't good because, like the one I had, you could choose once you type in the image, what you want. You can choose different formats of what that image is, like anime or gothic or, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And all of them weren't, and it wasn't even like a different edit of the picture or a different like stroke of the paint or whatever. It all was like different fucking pictures, and all of them were bad. So it doesn't happen every time. It's not a perfect scenario. At least the app that I use. Maybe the app that he used for the Pope and the puffy jacket was better. But yeah, the one I used wasn't that good.
Okay. Well, this looked like an actual photo of the
I saw it, yeah.
the Pope and a puppy, and it really hit. Is a lot of people on social media thought it was real, and so it just kind of it's some people are talking that it's I don't know, it just creates more of a risk in people thinking you could basically create a photo of almost anything you could think of, and if you get a good one like this one, then you could pass it off as authentic. Again, not saying it's going to do any damage necessarily, but it is just giving you kind of a glimpse of it. When you see these photos, you're not going to know what's real or not real as much.
So I can type in Thin Dean, and it might show me what I would look like thin.
It maybe.
All right.
Like 3 years ago. Just pull up a picture from like 3 years ago. There you go.
It just shows a picture of a Pez dispenser.
Hey, go back and watch any of our videos on YouTube. We put a clip of the very first thing we shot was a test clip, and I put that at the beginning of every video on YouTube for the most part. That little clip, so you can see how thin Dean was at the time. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Cigarettes and depression.
That's right. Any other thoughts on the AI photos? Is something that any thoughts around it?
It's scary because, it's not even just the photos now. They're doing these videos of celebrities that makes them talk and replicates their voice.
Yeah,
and that's dangerous as fuck. Especially if you're talking like in cancel culture, you could put something out there where somebody says something horrific, and this innocent person gets lambasted and canceled because some dickhead decided to put them in some sort of AI bot. It's actually kind of fucked up in some aspects.
Yep. Think anything else you have on it?
No, I mean exactly what Dean just said. I mean it's kind of crazy because in a society where we are so quick to judge people, which in a lot of cases rightfully so. But what if something is put out there that's manufactured, that's not real, and you can have the likeness of someone's voice and their face and essentially create what appears to be, unless you were there, you wouldn't know it didn't actually happen. You know what I mean? It's a little tricky.
I've mentioned this before, but Drew Carey has a radio show every Friday on Sirius XM. Drew Carey's Friday Night Freakout. Great show, by the way. It's on the Little Stevens radio station on Sirius XM. Listen to it every week. Drew has a lot of very interesting playlists and all that. But this past week, he used some type of technology, and I told you ahead of time. This is a computer, a computer likeness of Drew Carey
or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
So it was his voice, but it was a computer. You could tell it was the rhythm of AI chat.
Sure.
It wasn't actually Drew Carey, but it sounded like Drew Carey talking, kind of at a, kind of a monotone, flat, but it was a conversation describing the songs and everything like that. It was very odd. to think that you can create something
Not a
like
lot
that.
of people
sounded
know
like
this,
him.
but like Brian's been an AI bot chat since we started this.
Yeah, since last 50 episodes at
it's
least.
very impressive.
His talents are needed full time in editing these videos. We can't be waiting. He's
Right.
actually editing this right now. He's editing last week's right now, so he can't be bothered.
Brian can't be with us right now. He is editing. This is computer generated Gen X, Brian, bringing you the pop culture headlines. Yes.
This one's less judgmental too, so we like this one.
No, but those chatbots actually, it could work the opposite way. Imagine if you're a celebrity and you say something really fucking stupid, and you blame it on the chat. You're like, no, that wasn't me. Somebody had to have, done the whole bot thing. Yeah. Totally wasn't me.
I was thinking if, we might see, they were kind of experimenting with hologram likenesses of, passed on artists to maybe come back and do concerts. Might you see, I was thinking like, I'm a big fan of the old, Casey Kasem top 40, for example. Could you maybe see a time where
you want to hologram Casey Kasem?
Sure, it'd be great.
All right.
Why not? Yeah, we'll put him on the show. No, but could you create new top 40 with Casey Kasem's voice doing new American top, just stuff like that? Bring back radio.
And now I don't know. Number 7, Justin Bieber.
You could. Maybe
really
you have Alex Trebek hosting Jeopardy again someday. Perhaps it's a whole computer AI hologram likeness of Alex Trebek. All kinds of weird
we already
stuff
have hologram Larry King with us here on this show, so
that's right.
There's stuff going up in the world.
Peoria, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Caddis, Ohio. Hello. Yeah. All right.
Third wife, fourth wife. Fuck, I don't know at this point.
Okay, so we'll get into our Ask an Idiot segment here, guys. So, have you seen this thing about the woolly mammoth meatball?
No, the meatball, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So they have genetically engineered a woolly mammoth and made meatballs out of it?
You're right. So what you've heard is they're looking to potentially bring back the woolly mammoth, animal.
Yeah,
itself.
we talked about this maybe a couple months ago or whatever. Yep.
Right. They say to help fight climate change with what the animal does, as far as I don't know exactly what all it does, frankly, to help fight climate change, but that is something they are looking to do. But they have created a meatball using lab-grown alternative meat. So they have it's not all mammoth. It contains very little genes of a mammoth, actually, but it is in this meatball they made. It wasn't meant to be eaten, just to more of a show that it can be done. So I guess
just wanted mammoth balls.
Apparently so.
All right.
So it is in a museum. This is from the Smithsonian, this article, by the way. So it's in some museum somewhere. I'll have to find it here again. But
Can you imagine the possibilities to this?
Well, the lab-grown meat, now this is becoming more of a thing. So it's meat they take from cells of animals. So nothing is actually killed to create this. Now, something might have been killed a while back to get these cells, mind you.
Sure. Or they might have died naturally, old age or...
Could be. So they're cultivating this meat in massive steel vats, and it generates meat that could resemble cuts of meat that we're used to seeing. So now they're saying...
There's just something about the way you keep saying the word meat. Anyways, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's becoming closer to reality, to being able to be consumed in the United States. So the FDA, I guess, is close to saying it can be eaten. But they're saying we might see it in restaurants as soon as 2023. and possibly grocery stores in 2028. They got to find a way
23. It could be in restaurants this year.
This year.
Yeah.
We could have our mouth full of mammoth balls this year.
Well, not about mammoth necessarily, but certain types of meat.
I don't know. Play your cards right and you will.
Getting real sexy real fast.
It's just strange. Now they got to find a way to bring down the cost. So right now it'd be cheaper just to buy normal cuts of meat.
Yeah.
But it is something that it looks like that's going to continue to get development for several reasons. I mean, you got other countries that maybe being able to maintain actual animals would be very difficult, if not impossible. But people need to be able to eat. Certainly, you have issues with global warming, etc. When you have more and more, cattle, we know is kind of an issue where more and more cattle, it's hard to feed them. There's more methane and everything gases in the atmosphere, so you would not need as many actual animals around simply to slaughter. Obviously, a lot of people don't like the fact that you're killing animals to eat anyway, so I don't know if this would change their eating habits necessarily, but you might have some people that may consider having this quote-unquote slaughter-free meat where they might have not had it before. So all these potential possibilities of this lab-grown meat. So a couple questions here for you for Ask an Idiot. Is this something that, would you consider eating lab-grown meat? And what do you think about the possibilities of what it may bring in the future? So, Dean, why don't we start with you? Any thoughts on any of this?
First question, does it look like I will turn down eating anything? So I'm good with, I don't care,
Read all about it, I'm going to eat whatever.
Put some Frank's Red Hot on that bitch, I'll eat it. Smother it in cheese, I'll be fine.
Do you realize the possibilities that there is with this? We could eat like any sort of meat we want. I could finally eat a giraffe.
Possibly.
Right?
There was a market for it, but
person.
Maybe.
Yeah, we could try people without feeling bad.
Right. Which I've always wanted to do.
Right, me too.
Interesting.
And think about it this way. If this would have been back a few years ago, no COVID. You wouldn't have to eat fucked up meats in an alley. They could have ordered it from the think tank and eaten that shit, got their fill of bat, and not have to worry about spreading a global pandemic. This could have saved the world, Brian. Saved the world. And again, we could eat people.
Right. I'd like to circle back to the eating people thing.
Right back to it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, I guess actually it starts with like chicken breasts and beef steaks. That's kind of be where it sort of starts here, but it may branch off into there. So I don't know, Nick, what do you think? Are you interested to even try lab-grown meat? What do you think about all this stuff?
So here's the thing: if it's approved, right? Like if it's scientifically improved, FDA approved, whatever, it's totally safe. Look, it can't. I mean, this is not to disparage, but like the shit that we eat in fast food restaurants are not that great. So, like, I mean, is it going to be worse than that? Like, am I more worried about that? Dude, I eat Taco Bell like once a week. Like, I'm not really that concerned. I don't know what that's not real meat. I don't know where that shit's coming from, but lab-grown meat's probably better for you than that is. But in all seriousness, like, no, as long as it was, like, approved, I would certainly be interested. Absolutely. I mean, I if you can, put in writing that this is safe for me to consume, right? I'm not against it. And then, like Dean said, I mean, the upside to this is the possibilities are endless to all the ways that this could positively impact our society and the world that we live in. Yeah, like people in other countries that, like you said, can't afford to have food. We could feed a lot of people. I don't know what the cost on this is, but for new age problems, we need new age solutions. And let's face it, the way that the climate is going and the fact that we're just not able to slow it down. I mean, if there's any type of solution embedded in this at all, like maybe we can find some way out through that. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely possibilities here, and I would absolutely entertain it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I would eat something. I would eat lab-grown meat.
I have got the real question of the week. Okay, gentlemen, with this technology, would you I don't know how they get the cells from the animals, scrape or cut or whatever. Would you sacrifice scraping your finger or cutting a thing so you could eat yourself and see what you taste like?
Ooh, oh,
right? How awesome would that be?
That's ties into an interesting conversation I'll have with you guys off air because it's super fucked up and not able to be on air. But no, that's a good something like that.
I would totally eat
cool.
A Dean steak.
Right, if you could actually grow a piece of human meat from yourself, to where just to find out what person tastes like.
I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I bet I'm delicious.
Absolutely. You are.
Well,
Hashtag eat me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think we just found the fucking name of the podcast this week.
I just thought that when I said that too.
Hashtag lab gravy.
Eat me. Lab gravy.
Lab gravy.
I think you'll see this. For me, I think you'll see this. Become more and more prevalent as we go.
Sure.
As far as it would not surprise me. That would not surprise me to see maybe more affluent restaurants first, and you have a choice of your grass-fed meats, your vegetarian substitutes, and then your slaughter-free meat or whatever the heck they call it. Which maybe they'll cost you more initially, but I think it's just going to become more and more of a popular thing, I think, as we go. So,
yeah.
Yep. Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to think about eating ourselves, perhaps.
Always.
Yep. Take a break and come back with our main segment this evening, you guys. A band battle bracket that is Dean's idea, and he will explain it to you. The battle of the bands. That's right. Nick and I couldn't effectively explain it anyway, so I probably if we were asked to. So we're going to ask Dean to do that and come back with you in just a minute.
Presents the world's first rock video game, Journey Escape. The concert's over. Now you must help each member of Journey escape through mobs of love-crazed groupies, shifty-eyed promoters,
I can get you the forest.
and sneaky photographers. Find your roadies and manager.
You've got 10 minutes.
And run for the escape vehicle and live to rock another day. Journey Escape for the Atari 2600 from Data Age.
All right, we are back on Convincing Idiots. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We are Millennial Nick, Gen X Brian, and the Zennial Dean. Tonight, we have a very special show for you, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, we have the Battle of the Bands. Ow! So, without further ado, I am going to throw it to Dean because this, after all, was Dean's idea, and he's going to explain how. Let me give you a little Convincing Idiots history real quick, if I can prelude into this. We did a battle bracket before, and this was of superheroes, and Dean was such a massive fan that he was like, "How can we reincarnate this concept that I held so near and dear to my heart, and how can we make it about music?" And then Dean was just like, "I got it." And then now we throw to Dean. Dean, What does a convincing idiot's battle bracket really mean?
Okay. First off, if you've been listening long enough to know about the battle brackets, God bless you.
Wow,
we
yeah,
love
fuck
you. But if you don't, knowing that what Nick said was slightly askew, those battle brackets lasted like fucking 38 years. I mean, they last a long time. This will not. This will last.
They
a
started
few
before I was
episodes.
born.
That's right. But this battle bracket will be a battle of the bands, and the criteria is who we think the greatest bands of all time are. And yes, there's only 3 of us, and there are millions of bands out there. So we're gonna miss some. We're gonna miss your favorite. We apologize. This is our list that we compiled. It's not necessarily our favorite though, because like, excuse me, I have one of my favorite bands is. There's a band from back in the early 2000s called Dime Store Hoods that nobody would ever know about or have heard before. So I'm not going to put them on there. This is going to be bands that.
When you said that in the group text, I was like, "Is that something you made up?" I did not know
it
that.
is,
Okay,
it is actual band. They were
Okay.
only around for like a year.
Okay.
And the one album they have is delightful. But these are going to be bands that are commonly probably revered as the best bands, and we are picking our favorite from those. That type of situation.
Or bands that we find to be the most musically talented, or what that we think are like incredible bands.
Correct. So we each picked 5, and then we came up with a one kind of just
free space,
and that we all just agreed, yeah, of course they would be on there. That they would probably overlap if we all did our choice. And
Johnny hates jazz.
No, it is actually Queen. Queen is the
free space. Yeah.
Okay.
I was almost going to put them on my list, but I felt like somebody else was going to. And when no one did, I was like, well, Queen should probably be the free space, and then we agreed on that.
Right.
So there we go.
Yep. So all of us put it in there, and I physically put them into a hat, and I did not cheat because there was one. I will even tell you, there was a one point where I pulled a name. I'm like, oh, they shouldn't go against this person this early. I'm like, you know what? No, fuck it. Fair's fair, and I wrote it down. So I did not cheat.
Integrity.
The integrity. I don't have much in my life, but this moment in this bracket, I do.
So this is interesting. So you had mentioned, so we each submitted 5 bands, which gives us 15. Queen is the free space. So we'll probably say as we go along whose submissions were whose. So there might be points in the bracket where it's 2 of like both bands that we submitted.
100%.
I didn't even think about that. Okay, that's interesting. I like
that. The drawing of the names actually worked out pretty well. Where it wasn't like 70s band against 70s band. It actually is pretty solid and fair.
Okay.
There's some that are a given.
Sure.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
We're going to say we had a non-biased witness of the drawing as well.
That's right.
Ernie the best friend Ernest. Yes, my best friend Ernie. Yep.
He watched, and when I flinched to move the name, he put his 6 claws out, and I got scared.
Yep.
So without telling us, because I think I don't know, it's up to you guys. We're kind of doing this on the fly. I don't know if you guys want to say who's going up against who, but can you at least just name off, or should we go around and name the bands that we submitted or something, or do you just want to?
Let's just go into it because I don't remember who I put. Okay. and they're on my phone, and I didn't write them down. I wrote them down here.
I actually remember who you put.
Okay, good. Then you could, if you want to do that, you can go ahead and fucking say it. I don't know. I've killed a lot of brain cells.
I don't care how we want to do it. I'm just saying maybe we could go around and say the bands that will be in it, because we're not doing all of them tonight, correct?
Well, I can give you the brackets.
Okay. Go ahead. Sure.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of want to be surprised to see the face-offs when we actually do it, because I don't want to think about it before.
Then let's just get into it.
Okay, just do it.
All right. Okay. Round 1. Matchup 1. We are going with AC/DC against the Beatles.
Okay.
Defend, retract, argue.
So, whose submission was AC/DC here?
Mine right here.
Okay, whose submission was the Beatles here?
It's me.
Okay, you did remember that. I was ready to back you up. I was like, it was yours. Okay.
I did.
Okay. Good deal. Okay,
right.
so go, guys.
How do we want to start? Brian, do you want to... Actually, you know what? Since this is how we're going to do it. Who the two persons band is, the other person will start to give their opinion on it and kind of
so I'm starting because I didn't submit either? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. So here are two bands of varying degrees that I, on one hand, both appreciate,
you're
and
dumb.
on the other,
Brian.
I, on one hand, appreciate, one on the other hand, don't totally understand the thing. I will start with the Beatles, and let me explain myself. I understand that the Beatles are widely considered as one of the greatest bands of all time, and in many circles, by many people, they are considered like the rock band. That's the band, right? Or at least 1A of 1A and 1B. So, I would say that the Beatles I didn't really know much about until I saw the musical Across the Universe, which was an incredible musical. We've talked about it before. I loved that movie. I loved the film. Evan Rachel Wood's in it, and Jim Sturgis is the other leading actor there. Doesn't matter. Anyway,
TV Carpio.
Who? Oh,
the young Asian girl.
Yes. Okay.
Her rendition of "I Want to Hold Your Hand,"
Jude. Yeah,
is just fucking haunting. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So the Beatles, I didn't grow up with a lot. I knew obviously of them. And I bring up Across the Universe just simply to say this. That movie both made me appreciate and kind of ruin the band for me. Because on one hand, I was never really into the Beatles, but I love that soundtrack and I love those songs. So I really got to know and got to love the songwriting and the way that those songs were composed. There we go.
Comprised. All right.
Comprised. Either works. But yeah, so like I really enjoyed the songs. So it really made me appreciate the Beatles music. But at the same time, anytime I actually hear the Beatles versions of these songs, I'm like, I don't like them as much as like those versions. But I understand that the Beatles was one of those things in a place and time you kind of had to be there, right? At this point in time, music had never really been done the way the Beatles, presented it to, North America and whatever, and, so on and so forth. So I personally am not like a big Beatles fan. I don't really understand the whole thing of it, but I understand that there's definitely some good songwriting there. Sonically, they don't really do anything for me, but I appreciate what they did, and I have a lot of respect for the Beatles. So there's that. AC/DC, I don't get it all. I don't like them. Never have. I think they're not very good. I'm sorry. I'm not trying. I can't fucking stand AC/DC. So for me, it's, and I mean, I don't know. AC/DC's, I get the type of crowd that enjoys AC/DC. Like I get the state of mind or the whatever, maybe that when they came along, or the attitude that they bring. I like an AC/DC to, for example, my love of like the Ramones. The Ramones are not a good band. The Ramones are a feeling, the Ramones are a vibe, and they are cool. And they were a place and time. But I would never tell someone, like, from a musical standpoint, you need to listen to the Ramones because they're incredible musicians. So I kind of look at AC/DC under that umbrella. Not quite the same, but certainly that era 70s 80s rock band that kind of in my opinion, the way I hear them sonically, kind of fits that mold. So that is kind of the way I break them both down. But I do, if I'm that's kind of the way that I view them. So each of you, please defend your submission. Talk about your submission. Maybe I don't. I'm
so we will give our argument, and then at the end of the argument, we do the vote.
Okay.
2 out of 3 wins, and they move on.
Yes.
All right. I will go quick.
Sorry, mine was kind of long.
No shit. AC/DC. AC/DC is a fun band. They were on my list. I took them off at the end because there was somebody that I swapped out for them. That it was just by band standards, musically, lyrically, was a better band. But AC/DC at one point was my favorite band as in my teenage years. They're fun. They're just fucking rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
So if they weren't up against the Beatles, I fucking love AC/DC. But the Beatles to me are generational. They are not just revolutionary, but evolutionary. They progressed music to a place that it wasn't before, or at least helped place and elevate music to where it wasn't before, at least in the US. So I love both bands. I'm going to be more partial to the Beatles just because of their legacy and what they brought to, I don't want to be too over dramatic, but the world itself. So that's my take on the two bands. Brian, what say you?
Well, both bands certainly influential in their own right? So I'm, guarantee. Of course, the Beatles brought a whole different sound. They were a unique band in the respect of, for all the guys were talented musically, with their respective instruments. They were a rare band where every guy sang, different songs, which was definitely very interesting. There's not many bands that do that ever. So, and they definitely evolved over time as well. I mean, you go back and listen to early Beatles 60s stuff compared to later stuff, it's really completely different. So they definitely had a lot of evolution and experimentation with their music, which made it, them a very interesting band in many respects. I mean, you listen to different albums, a lot of them is very different from the last one in many ways. But I like the different variations of the Beatles, frankly. I like to hear the old stuff. I Want to Hold Your Hand to the more, the later stuff, which is all very interesting. Lyrics you go from very simple to more complex. So just again, it's the band that continued to evolve and experiment over their duration. It was a shame when they ended when they did. I mean, obviously, you talk about sales. If you want to get into that side of it, just tremendous album sales and popularity, and really a huge influence on pop culture and haircuts. It's just they were huge at the time. So you could argue that I don't know for sure. I don't know.
Do you know how many teenagers they made look like assholes because of those haircuts?
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. And AC/DC basically came on the scene and said, "This is what we're doing. We're sticking with the sound. That's it. We're not going to try to
for 75 years.
Yeah, we're not going to do much more than this. We like this. This is what we do. It's a steady rock sound. They don't get too heavy. Their lyrics are not complicated. They just want to come out here, play some rock and roll type music. That's what it is. And it's just from day one, most of the guys stood out of the way and let Angus Young run around and do his thing, and he was the show. It's just a fun band, fun songs. If I'm going to sit around, and I did this for many, Back in Black was played in many, many nights around my place growing up in my 20s, even in 30s. Just if I'm going to sit down and play a party songs, and just sit around and hang out and drink and chill out with, AC/DC is going to be at the top of my list for that type of vibe. You know what I mean? You know exactly what you're going to get. They make me smile every time I hear them. So just from that aspect of it, when I associate, for me, the good times around the music, they both have some of that for different reasons, but AC/DC just has a lot of that for me personally. However, when you all things considered, we talk about musical talent, influence, and all the way around. It's really hard to say that AC/DC is a better band than the Beatles, and they would probably say that themselves if you sat down and asked them, right? So if I'm bad, that's I won't get on my vote yet. I'm almost kind of going there, but that's just what I think about both bands.
When you're done, you can end with your vote.
Okay, so I'll just go into it. Even though I love AC/DC, I also enjoy the Beatles in many respects, but it's hard to say that the Beatles are it's hard to say that AC/DC is an overall better band for many reasons than the Beatles. So I would have to give the Beatles the edge over AC/DC in that respect.
Okay, Nicholas?
I also, this is, if you couldn't tell from my conversation earlier, it's a pretty easy out for me. Just on the respect alone and the name of the Beatles and all that they've influenced and stuff like that, I would have to go with the Beatles, absolutely.
We're going to make some playlists, by the way, Dave. I want to make some like deeper cut AC/DC playlists that play songs for you that you're not as familiar with. I'm interested to know if you like them. Maybe that's something we'll do over the summer here on Fire or something like that. Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, I'll be there. You know that.
Of course.
But, all right, so I'm going to go with my vote is probably obvious. We're going the Beatles, obviously.
Let's say if the guy that submitted the other band didn't even pick
no. Actually, that's not true because there's someone in this bracket that I submitted that's going to get beat in my eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I did not.
Yeah. Well, that's
I'm not biased just because I picked them. There's some in this bracket. The way it sets up is just some bands are better than others.
Yeah.
Yep. But again, if I'm sitting on a fire and I'm hanging out, I'm not playing the Beatles.
Right.
Probably.
Absolutely.
It's probably going to be AC/DC over the Beatles in that type of environment. So anyway, go ahead, Dean. What's next?
John Bonham or Brian Johnson? Which one?
Ooh.
You mean Bon Scott? You mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I? Yeah.
That's okay.
Fucking idiot.
That's all right. No, John
I hate him so much.
John Bonham's this fucking. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin.
Go home.
Yeah.
Go the fuck home. All right.
You know what? The answer really is both, because they both. Wait.
I didn't know. I'm asking your favorite. I didn't ask the question of which one. I want to know which one you prefer. If you had to pick.
Elton John, clearly.
If I'm asking you David Lee Roth or fucking Sammy Hagar, you got to answer the question. So I want to know
Sammy
which
Hagar,
one.
Easily.
I'm not asking that question. God damn it.
Sorry.
Bon Scott, got it right that time. Or Brian Johnson, which one?
Brian Johnson.
Same for me.
Yeah. I mean, I love Brian Johnson. It's just his whole, his voice fits that band perfectly. He stepped right in, and the first album he made was the top-selling album with Back in Black.
Right.
But if you go back and again, just listening for the complete body of AC/DC work, Bon Scott to me just gets a slight edge as far as again, but those albums that he sang, and he just had a bit more of an edgier voice and tone and all that. So tough call, but again, those earlier albums with Bon Scott were just so good.
Okay, cool. Just curious. Yeah, just wondering. All right, Dean, what's next?
All right. We're going to go the next on the same side here. Soundgarden against Queen.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a good feeling that we can go quick on this one. So, Brian, go ahead.
I like a lot of Soundgarden.
Queen was our free space, just to throw that out there.
Right. Yep. That's why I just went to a random, because you had Soundgarden.
Right.
Yeah, Soundgarden, very good music. Definitely is, at least one very, very strong album. It for me, it ties into very fun times personally with the Soundgarden album with Black Hole Sun and all that. It was a year moved out of the house of my parents, and it was a whole new stage of life for me. That album resonates a lot for me personally. However, Queen just too huge. Freddie Mercury, one of the greatest rock vocalists of all time, hands down. Super talented, lyrics, music, whole new thing. It's hard to see. Yeah, I don't know how you could possibly say, you say that they're a better band than Queen, but Queen is too big, too influential. Like I said, Freddie Mercury just too good. So that's it between the two. Yep.
This is
Dean,
where you
go ahead.
pick. I was
Oh,
going
you
to say,
want me to
Brian,
go?
you can go, but
Queen.
Whoever
Queen.
goes next should pick the next person.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
Just
sorry.
giving you guys a heads up.
Nick, go ahead. Sorry. What do you think?
Yes. So Soundgarden was my submission. They were one of mine. Love Soundgarden. They're not even my favorite of the Seattle bands, but I picked them because I feel like they are the most musically gifted as far as tacticians at their specific instruments. They're all fantastic. So, obviously I don't need to tell anyone who knows about Soundgarden about Chris Cornell, what an incredible vocalist he was. Kim Thayil, for an incredible guitarist. Ben Shepherd, great bass player. Matt Cameron, who went on to also is now the current Foo Fighters now and Pearl Jam drummer, and the original Soundgarden drummer. Just all incredible musicians all the way around. And I picked them just because I feel like they were one of the most musically talented bands of the Seattle scene. Even the guys from, Nirvana and Pearl Jam, when they were in prior bands before their own and made, big fame with their own bands, they would tell you that they were in the clubs listening to Soundgarden. Soundgarden had been doing this thing since like 1987. So incredible albums, specifically Super Unknown and Bad Motorfinger. Absolutely integral albums for that scene, that time. And I love Soundgarden, and that is why I picked them. However, this is an example of where Dean said, even though I picked them, to go up against Queen, it's hard to argue with the star power of Freddie Mercury and Brian May. Certainly, I mean, I am never in any scenario in life going to choose to listen to Queen over Soundgarden in my personal life. However, I can't argue with what Queen
Respecting
did
the band
and respecting who Queen was. And so even though I personally prefer Soundgarden, I would even have to cast my vote as the person who submitted Soundgarden to Queen. So Dean, you're up.
Okay. You guys said it all. When we do this battle bracket for solo artists, I will 100% add and put in my submission for Chris Cornell. He is to me, one of the greatest voices of rock and roll. But unfortunately, in the first bracket, when the names were pulled out of the hat, he got
going up against Freddie Mercury.
Exactly. So shit. What do you do? I love Soundgarden. I love Chris Cornell. But facts are the facts. It is Queen. Queen is... It's the reason they got a pass. So, yeah. So, obviously, it's Queen beats Soundgarden. Are we on agreement? Any vote needed?
This is two unanimous decisions in a row.
Okay.
So that's surprising. I thought that as we went around, being that each of us submitted 5 each, I'm like, well, tiebreaker is going to come down to the person that didn't submit either one. So this is kind of interesting. I like this. Okay, next one.
This next one's going to be interesting. We have Aerosmith against The Who.
Okay.
I submitted The Who. Nick submitted Aerosmith. So Brian, you go first. Aerosmith against The Who.
Both bands definitely very influential in their own right. For me personally, I don't quite get The Who. I just don't quite get it. Very talented band, no question about it. Roger Daltrey as it's just awesome voice. Again, arguably one of the best rock voices of all time. Pete Townsend, again, the super great guitar player. You had, there was a Keith Moon, right? Was one of the greatest drummers of all time while he was with us.
Right.
I never quite got the music. There's a couple of songs I like of The Who. And Aerosmith for me too. Yeah, the 70s Aerosmith, that era with Dream On and all that whole thing. I wasn't a big fan of Permanent Vacation necessarily. I did buy the tape when it was sort of the resurgence of Aerosmith in the 80s. It was okay. I didn't love it as much, and there's stuff afterwards. I'm not so sure. But when I talk about complete body of work, and if I want to sit down and just listen to the greatest hits of both bands, what am I going to enjoy? It miles ahead of the other one is Aerosmith over the Who. So I'm sticking with Aerosmith on this one.
Okay.
Who's going next?
Sorry, Nick, what do you think? Sorry about that. Nick, what do you think?
So I did submit Aerosmith. I do appreciate the Who. I like the Who. Kind of similar. I never really got real big into them or anything like that, but I definitely like the songs that I hear on the radio. Always enjoy them. I think they're very talented. I think they're very gifted musicians. So I do like the Who. I chose Aerosmith as one of my submissions, and actually Aerosmith was one of my late submissions, and I subbed out a different band for them just because kind of a little bit a nod to what Brian was talking about is because like I look at them in a lot of ways like I do with Kiss. I admire the way that they hung in the game for so long and changed over the years. They adapted. So certainly a 70s rock band had that garage rock sound, and then adapted into the 80s and 90s with Pump and like you mentioned, Permanent Vacation. I actually really did enjoy that album a lot. And into the 2000s, like they had almost a third resurgence when Armageddon came out, and then Just Push Play. They had Jaded, which was massive. So Aerosmith was one that I put in there, and I struggled with whether or not to put them on there because I was like, well, in my mind, I'm going with like musicianship, like right, like in which all these bands are incredible musicians, but I'm like, man, it is hard to argue with like Joe Perry's talent on the guitar. Steven Tyler is an incredible frontman, and the thing that maybe drives Aerosmith home the most to me, I love that they're rooted in blues. They're very
daughter.
They always they always throw to those blues roots, and you can hear that throughout their music, and I really love that a lot. So I am going to stick with my pick with Aerosmith, just because and for a while, like Dean, you mentioned in high school, you like AC/DC for a while was your favorite band. I had a big Aerosmith thing in high school where Aerosmith, I went to the Exchange every week.
Just last
whatever,
year, right?
right? Yes. Whatever money I had that week at the Exchange, I would buy whatever Aerosmith album was next. I would do that with a lot of bands where I'd buy their greatest hits. And if I loved the greatest hits, I would go each week and buy their albums in order in which they came out. And I absolutely loved Aerosmith and, went and see them in concert many times. So I will stick with Aerosmith because I really love them. So that is mine. But Dean, please talk about the Who a little bit more.
All right. The Who, not only, like Brian said, how influential they were, but if you go back and ask the Beatles and this band and that band, there's so many bands that the Who is their influence.
Sure. The Beatles?
Yeah.
Really? The Who was out before the Beatles?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. The Who came out, let me see here. I think the Who came out in where was I? Just saw it here. Okay. Anyways, so whether it had Dead Air, regardless, they're very influential on many, many different bands. At a certain point, Brian, weren't they considered to be the loudest band?
I think that is the case
for like the longest time, like
for a while.
Like audibly the loudest band, on stage or whatever. But I mean, they are iconic.
They formed in '64, so right around the time of the Beatles. The Who.
Okay, so I might be off on the Beatles, but many other bands.
Sure.
And then you go to Aerosmith, and I would love to say, how amazing, the Who are, and it's a slam dunk. But you guys really, you guys really convinced me on this one. just the power of longevity, and with that longevity, creativity. Like it's never stopped. Like they've evolved as they've grown. And yeah, Jesus, you might be right on this. Shit, what they did with Run DMC changed not
Sure, yeah,
only
we didn't even
music.
mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, what
Sure.
not only changed music videos, but like music itself. If there's not that collaboration, is there a and fuck y'all, I know you liked it at one point, but the rock rap shit that went on in the early 2000s?
Well, that really resurrected Aerosmith's career,
let's not
really.
fault them for that, but even
Yeah.
like Anthrax and
No,
Public
but you know
Enemy
what I'm
or-
saying? Is like there's a lot that, I mean, that changed music.
Yeah, no,
that
for sure.
brought rap up to a level, and like you said, Brian, just now, it kind of gave Aerosmith a resurgence. Like
It did definitely.
what they did musically, just with that, I think just with the Run DMC thing, and everything you guys said is 100% true and accurate and deserves to be considered. But like for me, the Run DMC thing, for the face of music itself, is why I'm also going to have to go with Aerosmith. So another another slam dunk.
There we go.
And
Very
I
good.
did pick the Who, so all right, here we go.
Right.
Aerosmith is moving on.
All right. So we got one more on this side. Is that correct? Is that word?
Yes.
How far are we going tonight? Okay.
Oh, geez, yeah. Looking at the time, yeah.
I don't
this
mind.
Is our
I was just
last...
asking. I just didn't know how far we were going with the bracket this evening.
It's up to you, fellas. I mean, might be a long podcast here. All right, but if this is the last one, our last bracket of the night, Metallica against Led Zeppelin.
Ooh.
I thought so too.
That's tough.
So I picked Led Zeppelin. Brian picked Metallica. So Nicholas, you have the honor of going first. Metallica against Led Zeppelin.
Well, shit. Those are two incredible bands.
Mm-hmm.
So Led Zeppelin is hard to argue with, right? Incredible band, incredible songs that, I mean, there's always something to be said, and I guess you could say that to any of the bands that are in this bracket, but there's something to be said for a band that still gets so much radio play to this day, and all these years later. At this point, what are you talking, like 40 years later? Led Zeppelin is an incredible band. They made incredible songs. I don't know that I was ever like the biggest Led Zeppelin fan per se, but I appreciate their music and I don't dislike it whatsoever. So definitely a heavy hitter there. Metallica, absolutely. I mean, same deal there. They're really it's hard for me because they are akin to one another in different genres of the rock umbrella. Led Zeppelin certainly more in that class. Wasn't classic when it came out, but that 70s era, that garage rock, not even garage rock, because they just had this polished sound from the get-go. But Metallica, certainly gods in the heavy metal realm. Yeah. Definitely respect Metallica. Man, shit. Those are again, I've always been more of a Megadeth, Mustaine guy. So Metallica, but Metallica's got those catchy hooks and songs that same as Led Zeppelin, but in different sides of the sphere. So I actually, before I make my decision, I want to delegate to the people that chose them, and I want to hear a little bit more before I cast my final vote because they are really close to me. But I want to hear you both talk about it. I think I know in my heart, in my head, kind of the way that I think I'm leaning, but I don't know 100%. So I want to hear everybody talk real quick. So Dean, Led Zeppelin, right, was your submission? Let's hear you talk about Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin is iconic as iconic can be. Same as AC/DC, they spent a good time of my youth as my favorite band. They brought almost I don't know if you want to call it operatic but definitely like a almost a storytelling nature to their songs and their albums. And they stayed true to themselves. Like they didn't grow up and try different things. They were fucking Led Zeppelin. I mean, they everything about them is iconic. Everything about them is brilliant and beautiful. When I think rock and roll, it's literally one of three bands that pop into my head. I'm not saying they're my favorite and the greatest, but like when you just say, "Oh, you listen to rock and roll," Led Zeppelin is one of those bands. Now, Metallica is probably the other. Metallica is okay. So when I was probably Carter's age, probably about 10, 11 years old, I don't know if we can do the math, but the Black album came out.
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
92, 91.
Okay, so that charts. So for some reason my parents thought my brother was cooler than me, so he deserved like the cool music and stuff. So he got the Black album on a Walkman or display or whatever. And so he could care less because he's, you know him. So I spent the whole fucking day listening to that album over and over, just rewound it, played it again, rewound it, played it again. It did have a very influential sound to me, the same as Dookie did with Green Day. That album really opened my eyes to like a different genre of music, and I can respect and love them for that. Brian, go ahead. Fuck, I don't know who I'm going to choose yet. Honestly, this is not easy because they are both the same band from different generations. If that makes sense.
Yeah, to different genres. Absolutely, they are. Yeah,
but like you had that same feeling about them. If you were that kid in that age or that kid in that age from that era, it's that same feeling. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a hard rock metal. Go ahead. I'm a hard rock metal fan.
Go ahead.
And like you say, Metallica is sort of like you say, they're sort of like a Led Zeppelin of hard rock metal. I mean,
they're kind of godfathers of the metal scene, really.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I'd say probably Black Sabbath. But there's some, in a modern day,
you're right.
You're splitting hairs, but yeah, they're up there.
It's the feeling. It's the feeling you have.
Sure. And Metallica's
not necessarily
new album that's going to come out shortly. Actually, they're still making new music today, so they have a few songs out. Yeah, songs out now.
I have a buddy that flies all over the country to this day to see Metallica.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen them a few times. I tell you what, I'll take Metallica's first three albums, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Master of Puppets. You put those three albums up against a shit ton of all metal hard rock, and you're going to have an argument of what's the better album. At least it's going to be in the discussion. Without them, I don't know that you have the hard rock thrash metal scene. It would not be quite the same. I mean, these guys came on right in the middle of the glam rock of the 80s, and they just came out.
They had the same long hair, but it was just like messy and gross.
Yeah, they came out and said, "We're just going to come out here in jeans and a Misfits t-shirt." Lars came out there with just no shirt and short, and just said, "We're just going to come out and kick your ass with our music," and they certainly did. And arguably, I mean, you go back to that original lineup there with, of course, not Dave Mustaine, obviously, was with the original lineup, and he certainly went on for Providence and Megadeth, as you mentioned, Nick.
Fuck yeah.
But that lineup with Kirk Hammett and Cliff Burton, Lars Ulrich and James Hetfield. I mean, those guys all in their own right, just incredible musicians. It was a real shame to lose Cliff Burton. Anyway, but Led Zeppelin, as I said before, too, as far as the individual talent of each guy in that band, vocally and musically, it was a whole different level of talent. Just in I don't know. So it swings so many ways. It just depends what type of mood you're in, what band you think is the better band, and all that type of stuff. Metallica has always been one of my favorite bands since high school. They bring me so much joy just listening to them, but of course, so does Led Zeppelin. So if I step back and say all the way around, if I'm talking about influence and individual talent, I'm going to give the edge to Led Zeppelin. I think in this particular vote, even though I love Metallica so much, I appreciate everything that they've done. If I'm going to sit again, I can easily listen to either band depending on what type of mood I'm in personally, and have enjoyment. But again, if I'm just all the way around, I'm going to give the edge to Led Zeppelin on this one.
All right. This isn't easy. I have emotional ties to both bands, growing up listening to them equally, just different parts of my life. But like, if you want to consider like those bands that like open your eyes to like, I heard Led Zeppelin and it's like, this is music, and this is what music can be. But then I heard fucking Metallica's Black Album, and this is a fucking new dark pathway of fucking enjoyment.
Sure.
So, Chick, I think I actually have to do this to Nick. I'm going Metallica.
You guys are swapping. Wow.
Yeah. I think the way that I just remember that Christmas morning with those fucking metal fucking head with the foam things, just blown away because because he got Metallica and I got Weird Al Yankovic, which by all means should be on this list.
So your parents had you guys pegged, not to say that Balin was a Metallica guy, but just the offset, like.
But it was the thing is, I love Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah,
Balin ended up listening to that album a lot, and I ended up listening to the one he got.
That's great.
Because like it blew my mind. Like I didn't know, like, I had heard different like metal bands and rock bands and stuff, but I didn't know it could like sound so melodic and beautiful the way, like, you know what I mean? Like, not like saying he had like a very
well, if you're thinking of like you're talking about the Black Album, like Unforgiven, right?
Yeah,
like it's just
so yeah,
same deal.
Exactly.
My dad had a CD player downstairs that I would sit there and the Black Album on CD and like listen to that song over and over again.
Keep going, brother, because I picked Metallica, so now keep going because it's your turn.
So
you're the tiebreaker.
They're like I said, both incredible bands. This is very tough. They're very akin to one another. But if I'm really breaking it down to what band I have the most history with, what band I'd rather listen to, and what band has the more songs that I enjoy, which is just kind of more up my alley. I've definitely got to go with Metallica. It's kind of the time that I was raised in, the music I was exposed to, and I tend to lean towards a little bit of the like heavy metal side, just the way I was raised. And like I said, I spent a lot of time with their albums. I heard a lot of their music growing up, and their sound definitely appeals to my personal preferences a little more. No disrespect to Led Zeppelin, because just fucking, like Dean, you said it best when you said they are like really, like when you think of like rock and roll, like a lot of this is subjective. A lot of all of these are subjective as far as when you grew up and how you perceive rock and roll music. But certainly Led Zeppelin are one of the godfathers of modern day rock music as we understand it today. So I definitely have a lot of respect for Led Zeppelin, but I certainly prefer, if any 10 times out of 10, if you ask me, would you rather hear Led Zeppelin or a Metallica song, it's always going to be Metallica for me, just personally. But
See,
I
mine
will
mood.
pick Metallica. Yeah.
To me, between those two bands are completely mood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're right. 100%. Yep.
So Metallica moves on. There we go.
Metallica moves on. So the winners of this week's brackets, we have the Beatles moving on, which will face Queen.
Oh,
and then we have Aerosmith against Metallica.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Very good.
But next week,
don't tell us
you don't
who's
want to
going
go next
into.
week?
Give me a random assortment of what other bands we will see featured.
All right,
I like
so
that.
next week,
give us
these are not going up against each other.
Alphabetical order.
I'm like, fuck you.
Do the alphabet.
With ELO versus Weird Al.
I barely know how to fucking read. All right, so and this is not the order they're going against each other. This is random. We have Foo Fighters. We have Guns N' Roses. We have Tool. We have Fleetwood Mac, Rolling
Out of
Stones,
alphabetical order.
Iron Maiden, Eagles, Rush, all next week.
Oh, interesting.
And trust me, guys, and I really couldn't have done it, honestly. If I would have, purposely, put these in order, I couldn't have done better than what the randomness did.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we thank the cat for his careful supervision of the drawing activity.
Thank you, my best friend Ernie.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You know, Ernie, I think as well, not only is he just very good at supervising, I've also heard that he has a heart of gold. He's so nice, kind, and friendly. And a heart of gold I want to mention here is one of our sponsors, Golden Heart Tattoo. Guys, he talked about Scott a lot here earlier. I think it was off camera, though. We won't talk about why
it had to
we're
be,
talking
yes.
about Scott.
Yes.
It's my nephew.
Yeah. But Golden Heart Tattoo, a great tattoo shop that's done work on all of us, we mentioned before. If you're in the Northeast Ohio area and the Norton, Ohio area, give them a call at 234-706-2982. You can find them online at goldenhearttattoos.com or on Facebook at Golden Heart Norton, Norton. Look them up. Get yourself some ink. Maybe get yourself maybe an Aerosmith tattoo or something like that. So I don't know.
Scott has a very good story about that. Go ask him about the Aerosmith tattoo he did on someone named Steven Tyler.
There you have it. Excellent.
It's a good teaser for you.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and the thing we love about Golden Heart Tattoo so much, I mean, amongst the fact that they're friends of ours, we love them dearly. They've done work on all of us, and we were very grateful. They're close. They're local, right? We love how close they are. It's a hop, skip, and a jump. But you might be thinking to yourself, well, they're not so close to me. We have solutions to all of your problems. If they're not in walking distance to you, perhaps they're in riding distance to you. And maybe you say, well, I don't have a car. Well, maybe it's time that you hook yourself up with an electric bike from our friends at RPM Bike Shop. That's called a segue upon a segue. That's correct. Our friends at RPM Bike Shop could hook you up with the finest electric bikes today for your convenience. All you have to do is give them a call at 330-808-7792. Or you can type in the search bar on Facebook, RPM Bike Shop. There you can also see the wonderful products they have for you. They probably also have a link so that you can call them or message them directly. You can go visit them. They're located conveniently in Carrollton, Ohio.
Jesus Christ.
Whoa! Get back on that electrical bike there and ride your way on over to their website, rpmbikeshop.com. Like I said, give them a ring, 330-808-7792, and ride your happy ass over on your brand new electric bike to Golden Heart Tattoos. RPM Bike Shop, Carrollton, Ohio. There you go.
Our sponsors, Nick, I think they seek and destroy the competitors with their quality, service, and products.
Oh, they kill them all. They kill them all.
Ah, you too.
Very good. Excellent. Okay.
I don't know what you do this for.
Huh?
The Led Zeppelin album. You were naming albums, so Led Zeppelin 4.
Okay. We were doing Metallica. But all right. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. like that. Yeah.
Eat a
Well,
dick.
Nick, I think it's time to ride the lightning on out of
That's
another
right.
episode of Convincing It number 135.
Ooh, 135. Look at that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You should do this in the
James
voice
Hetfield.
of Jimmy Page.
It starts with James Hetfield.
I don't know what Jimmy Page fucking sounds like. Like
I
this
don't
guy.
either. I don't either.
Hey there, my name's Jimmy Page. And,
Wow.
and I'm not diddling on my guitar. Let me tell you something. Here's what I like to do. I like to head on over to Convincing Idiots' Linktree. That's a whammy bar. I'm Jimmy Page, so I know what that's called. It's a whammy bar. Anyway, go on over to Convincing Idiots' Linktree. There, you can find all of the links to their social media accounts. That's right. Back in the 70s, we didn't have social media accounts. But now...
How many people say that they're who they are in the middle of their sentences?
Jimmy Page,
We're in the
obviously.
future.
Dummy.
So now, since I'm Jimmy Page and I'm playing the guitar, I can tell you to head on over to our link tree. So, if you don't know where to find that, go on over to Google and type in Convincing Idiots, Linktre. That's just 2 E's because it's a tree. Jimmy Page here. So,
I'm pretty sure he's British.
You're not getting any fucking Jimmy Page impersonations on any other podcast. God damn it.
Because neither are we.
So, if that's not enough for you, then you go ahead and head on over to Convincing Idiots' website. That's right, I done told you. It's convincingidiots.wordpress.com. That's right. Go ahead over there for some tasty licks, eh? Would you? It's alright, it's alright. So, for this episode of Convincing Idiots, I am Jimmy Page, a loser in the battle bracket.
Fucking indeed, whatever.
Jet X Brian.
Have we convinced you to come back for another episode of the Convincing Idiots battle bracket? Have we? Yeah, it's alright. Yeah, isn't it?
I hate you so much. Did you just see that shit? If you liked what you saw, like and subscribe. Come back. You're gonna wanna.
Ham gravy.
In the middle of the sentence, I realized, oh, this is not probably what I should be telling before we try to do a fucking comedy show.
Is that what this is? Is that what this is supposed to be?
Oh yeah, nobody told you.
Oh no, I didn't know
wow.
that. I
Brian,
never
you didn't tell him.
I never got that kind of vibe here, so I didn't.
Oh, this is awkward. This is awkward.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Well,
I thought we were a satirical news podcast. I didn't know it was a comedy thing.
So if you could try to bring the funny in it from now on.
Okay, well, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I'm new to this because I didn't know we were supposed to be doing that.
Maybe that's why you guys don't laugh at my jokes, is you thought I was being serious. But I'm now joking, so you'll go, oh, I can laugh at those hilarious things he's saying.
Well, this is no laughing matter, Dean. This is a very serious podcast.